Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SKTV. Um, Want to welcome each and every one of you. Welcome to today's edition. Welcome to the show. Today is Monday, um, May 16th, 2022. I want to welcome each and every one of you. Welcome to the show. Let's share the show. Let's invite someone. Hmm, Today, Uno edition, Umpa promises to be very, very interesting and intriguing. Very much so. A lot to talk about, a lot to clarify. We will have Jay Randy here today as one of our guests. Jay Randy should be one of our guests here. Jay Randy should be one of our guests here. Let's share the show, guys. Let's share the show, ladies and gentlemen. Please help us share the show. Invite someone. Very interesting happenings over the last 24 hours, 12 hours, however you want to term it, since the last time we were with you. Sometimes yesterday in an interview with Mr. Alexander B. Cummings, the political leader of the ANC. Today we have, strangely and excitingly, we have we'll be dealing with two groups of people here today. Jay Randy is our guest. We'll be in conversation with him. However, we have a group from Europe that will be in very briefly from the ANC from Europe. They reached out to us. They wanted to make some clarifications really quick on some things, and they also want to make a quick announcement. And we should be good. So let's share the show. Let's invite someone. Let's tell them about what's going on. Today, Umba is Today, Umba is West. In other news, Umba, you ain't want to miss other news today. Today, Umba, in other news, bah! A too bad. A bad war show. Yeah. But we get other news here very shortly. Let's share the show. Let's invite someone. Um, since the interview last night, whether it's Telvi, whether it's Siku, whether it's me, our phones have been buzzing. A lot of things going on, but we here, we fought inside some people here, but I said we can't give up. We inside. Um, Also, we very disturbing this morning. We got a lot to talk about today. Just a lot to talk about. So we don't want you to miss out on anything because we will not be able to repeat ourselves. We'll not be able to repeat ourselves. So please share the show, invite someone. Uh, let's talk about what's going on today. A lot of things. A lot of things. A lot of things are going on. A lot of things are going on. We'll also have, like I said, we'll have Jay Randy at some point here. Um, Hold on 1 second, guys. 1 second. 1 second. Look, today too busy. It's very busy. And I know for the look of things, the show looking like it'll be noisy. For the look of things, it look like it'll be noisy show. Let's share the show, guys. Let's share the show really quick. We have a lot of things to talk to you about, a lot of things to announce to you. Um, ain't easy. Ain't easy. Some people already started sharing the show. Once you share the show, we get an alert. We can know here. Some people already share the show. Let's please help us share the show and invite someone again. We don't want to repeat ourselves. We want to welcome you today. Um, Time here is 11:13 a.m. in Phoenix, Arizona. On the East Coast, it should be 2:13 1:13 p.m. Midwest Central Standard Time. It should be 1:13 p.m. So it's in the afternoon on that side of the country, on that side of the world. But here it is. It's still in the morning. So good morning to you. Those of you joining us from Europe, those of you joining us from Asia, the Americas, Australia, but most importantly, those joining us from Liberia, we want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Today, we're not rushing to do anything. We're taking our own time. We're doing it doucement. We're doing it doucement. Because there are a lot of things going on. A lot is going on, but please help us share the show. Oh, Sita, you like the hair? All right, okay. But I say you like it in situation I get here no. I'm here now. I'll be wearing the hair now. The hair when I'm cutting the hair now until after the 2022 presidential election. Whoever wins the inauguration, my boy, what he name? Dr. Cassette wins the election. I show him saying my hair cut was strict. You know, I don't know where his inauguration will be held, but we'll see. Which I know Georgia will not win the election, but we'll still be on standby. So we got to show faith and show support. But let's share the show, guys. Let's share the show. Let's share the show. Let's invite someone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Let's share the show. We are getting a lot of information here. We want to confirm something here about one or two things. We want to confirm one or two things here really quick. Let's share the show. Defo Kamara, you laughing? A serious thing here. I think very serious. Very, very serious. But quickly, let's get into other news. In other news, Joseph Boaga fought that inside. Joseph Boaga confused the whole trial. I told you about my boy Joe Boy. I said, you leave Joe Boy alone. Joe Boy don't know what's going on for the most part. All these crooks, these so-called wannabe politicians that want position, that think that they will come to power, Joe Boy will come to power, that scam. Joe Boy ain't going nowhere. Just start wasting your time. Joe Boy confused the whole trial. Joe Boy threw Monger Range in the trial. Joe Boy, wow. Joe Morgan really the whole trial get confused. Everybody, even Serena Silva said confused. No, the look on Serena Silva face, look at the most confused man on earth. What? I told you about Joe Boy. You leave Joe Boy alone. You got a few handful of young men and young women pushing Joe Boy, making us say Joe Boy will make it. Listen, the more you put Joe Boy outside, the more you will expose on things. Joe Boy is confused. Joe Boy knows what's going on. Joe Boy confused the trial today. Joe Boy confused the trial. Let me give you an instance, because let me say this. When we are talking, some of us, because we can be laughing, but we don't talk just because we want to talk. There are a lot of things that we're aware of. There are a lot of things that we know. There are a lot of evidences that we have. Let me prove it to you. Let me prove something to you. Let me show you something. Joe Boy confused the whole. Oh God! Joe Boy put Morgan Range in the trial today. Joe Boy might drop noise in the trial. Look. So we were able to lay hands on transcripts from the questions and the answers from the courts today. And these are serious things. This is not a joking matter. This is a serious matter. But in all honesty, I just had to laugh because as I was reading the transcripts, I just know from the transcript that Joe Boy confused. I say I want witness. The other witness help me out of that further inside. Joe Boy might confuse the whole trial today again. Y'all give me 1 second. 1 second. 1 second, guys. 1 second.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Sonada dear boy. I'm glad with the great opportunity given me to introduce to you your president.
Babu want to become president.
That one not true.
Muskiro want to become president.
That one not true.
Poppy Dosse want to become president.
That one not true.
Crazy man you see want become president.
That one not true.
Mr. Krede want to become president.
That one not true.
Mr. Lala man want become president.
That one not true.
President you will sing you.
That one not true.
Mr. Roro want to become president.
That one not true.
Jego. Now how the president business will be? We suffering for some more. Mr. Lala want to become president. President you see want become president. Mr. Become president. It can't be one angry. Let me tell you something.
I had a quick interruption, ladies and gentlemen, but this thing is very serious. Joe Boy Joe Morgan range into the whole into the whole thing. Joe Boy confused everybody. First of all, the player knew Joe Boy was confused and everything was going to be confusing. But the fact that Joe Morgan even recollect that he knows Cummings. I just said to myself, I said, for that inside today. Joe Boy might bounce on all with confusion again. I said, look, we joking, eh? But the other people read the whole show. They say that that thing go nowhere yet. Let's cancel that thing before. Joe Boy got put in situation we can't handle yet. Joe Boy put the whole hope and aspiration of the whole case. The one were hoping Joe Boy throw Morgan Rich. I'll read part of it to you so you can listen. And I challenge them to say that lie. I challenge them to say the information a lie. I challenge them. So Joe Boy confused the whole thing. So right now we don't even know what's going on. Okay, I will leave your uncle, no problem. I will leave your uncle. I will forget about your uncle. I will leave him. My woman said yes, she's watching me too, so I just need to put myself together. But the Joe Boy thing here, we can't let it slide. I won't lie to nobody. Ooh. How Joe Boy confused us in the 21st century like that? Oh, Oma won't challenge me, Oma. All right, let me prove it to you. You my own Oma, so I'll prove it to you. My Oma won't challenge me. Let me prove it to you. Let me prove it that Joe Boy didn't know what's going on. Let me prove it to you. I ain't got a problem with that one. Let me prove it. Joe Boy confused. So let me start with this in other news because we got other things to talk about in other news. We got other things to talk about in other news. We got Sheck to talk about. And the other part of Sheck. And I won't go there yet, but let me do the one. Joe Boy, look. We told you, leave Joe Boy alone. Look, Joe Boy is not ready for the prime time. He's not ready for this. Let me read this. Question. When did you sign and who signed the framework document? Yeah, Joe Boy responding now. Joe Boy respond. As a man signed for the UP with other parties chairman. It happened on May 19th, 2020. Call Joe Boy, ask him if he didn't say that. Call the court and ask him if Joe Boy didn't say that. Call the court and ask them if Joe Boy didn't say that. We move. Let's continue. Joe Boy should have never, we told you before, you're exposing Joe Boy to a lot of things. But ain't one noise? The noise just starting, relax. Joe Boy got more confusion to do. You can go prep him, say however you want to prep him to come and lie. Once he takes that stand, he'll be talking for himself. I'm practically opposing him to talk. He will talk for himself. And he will throw Morgan range again. Oh, wait, keep moving. Here's another question from the Solicitor General. Solicitor General, is this the framework document you signed on May 19? Currently viewing the framework document. Joseph Yuma Bwaka respond. I signed the original framework document. But then Joseph Bwaka confused us earlier and said it was Mane who signed it. The confusion get worse. Let's keep moving. We move. We coming back. We coming to something again. We'll read one more from y'all. Let's read some more from the when they were cross-examining Joe Boy. Who the other person? Timero, Dumo. Go somewhere, man. Yo, they can pull $1, $2 on your phone and for you to be making noise and be distracting. Go sit down somewhere before you run out of credit. Go sit down somewhere before you run out of credit. Demo, and all the funny different names you got. Let's move. Be careful before you run out of credit because you'll soon run out of credit, Jenna. The dollar they put on your phone for you to come and misbehave in public, it will soon run out. So call them, let them put another $1 there because I just recognize you because that's what you can look for. Once they recognize you, then you can take screenshots and say, I will battle in the people on your behalf. Then he says, I can you store and they send $1, they recharge your card $1. You'll keep on that level. We're not here for that. We're discussing serious matter here. Councillor Silla asked Joe Boy a question. You are a member of the National Executive Committee You are a member of the National Executive Chat Room. You testify that you did not receive the CPP framework document. Serena Sifa joined me to it. Listen to Serena Sifa. Serena Sifa joined me to it and said he wanted to object. The judge said, no, Serena Sifa, slow down. Let Joe Boy talk. Joe Boy said, when you can't talk, let him talk. Let me hear Joe Boy out the story. Because Joe Boy got to talk. So, yes, is his response. Yes, but he agreed that he's part of the chat room. Joe Boy part of the chat room, but Joe Boy don't know what's going on for the most part. In the same chat room that he in. I swear. Yes, but I discourage the issuing of documents in those chat rooms again. So, Joe Boy agreed that you were part of the chat room. Get it clear. Another question for Joe Boy, Councillor Silla. Is this the original framework document you signed on May 19, 2020? Here's what Joe Boy responded. Joe Boy responded, nope. I did sign 5 pages of the CPP original framework document. No. Joe Boy is under serious pressure. Joe Boy don't know what's going on. Joe Boy has no clue. Joe Boy said he doesn't know Cummings. The only time he knew Cummings was the time they started working the CPP. But I don't want to play your ear Joe Boy's head talking. Yeah, I told you before. I don't want calling the name for Joe Boy smooth crook. I stand by what I said that time. Today, I stand by it. I will never change that. I will never change that. It suits him. That's exactly who he is. You can go behind the hall and say, oh, and the men are older men, the men are they want no problem. No disrespecting, sir. Smooth crook does not disrespect anybody. He just described your behavior that is aligned with anything. But let's move to other news. Welcome out of Joe Boy. Welcome out. I don't get problem with people that who can get. I ain't getting your go make sure your cost, your do whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Hey, I want the truth. We say we'll stick with the truth. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's get to the truth. Because we told you before, you'll stop this nonsense. Let's get to the issues. Stay focused. You still won't be playing propaganda and lies. You all have brought this older man that's supposed to be a man of so-called wisdom, because that's what you're saying. So-called wisdom. Now today, he in situation he can't handle. That's it. That's what it is. So let's do it. Let's get it going. But interestingly, we want to move a little further into some things here. In other news, the Sheikh Bashira case, or Bashiru, or whatever his name is, It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. The government, we told them before, they'll start fooling around. On some part of last week, they try to throw him under the bus that they don't know him. That I just saw an alien came from the sky and he came and in fact the passport was not real, the passport was fake, and you had that other crook, that other scammer, loudmouth, know nothing. All he knows is to pass around and scam people and crook people and lie, yelling for the government. The same way he doing. You who follow him as your constitution, I'm real sorry for you. Me, I feel sorry for you, the constitution. I feel sorry for you. Because here's a man that can just looking at somebody pregnant you, then I think person can win a job. I ain't looking. I ain't looking. I course I can do you and just ready and just position all of you. And y'all can fall for it. And not the man making case for government now. The other day he was talking about nonsense that he doesn't know. He and Stanton Witherspoon and whatever other one in Kifasan. Or the bunch of, as Hillary Clinton would say, deplorables. Because that's all they care about. They don't care about doing the right thing. They don't. They don't care about doing the right thing. They strive, they believe in crooking people and not doing the right thing. So they come around, they got a bunch of buffoons that follow them and make a bunch of foolish noise around the town. And they think, they allow. But the truth will always surface. He was on there. Oh, how the thing will lie. How the other one will lie. How the other one will lie. How the other one will lie. Well, guess what? The government are changing the story again. That the passport was fraudulently taken. Okay. So the passport walked from Foreign Affairs Ministries. And the passport walked from Foreign Affairs Ministries. Okay. That's okay. We don't have a problem with that. The passport walked from Foreign Affairs Ministry. So criminals we got our hands. So criminals. Starting from the president down. All of them are so criminals. None of them is excluded. So fast forward, the Bashir case not going anywhere. I see them I was reading Front Page Africa and other lights talking about, they're trying to make deals so that big names can come out there and negotiate. Let me tell you something. In Liberia, I'm surprised all your big names, on the side. Bashir talking. So all your big names, and they will stay show face, whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. They will still come out. All your big names will still come out. That big name not going anywhere. And they'll be held accountable. They will. Whether you like it or not, they will be held accountable. Here's the last thing on for today, because we have one or two people here really quick to get into this conversation. I told you in other news, will be very noisy today. Other news will be a little longer than usual. I haven't even shared the show yet. But long story short, in other news concerning the Simpashiri case, I will not call names. But guess who's part of the whole Bashiri case? Because our investigation has also linked, there are members of the Spoon Talk that got caught from Bashiri as well. You're mad today, again. We talking here? Spoon Talk part of the Wala. And we talking today again? Yo kind of cost, what kind of funny thing, and that's fine. When it come out again, then you'll go by again, you'll go in your little corner, you'll be defending. You'll go get ready to defend. Spoon Talk. Remember, I'm calling an email. I'm calling them. Like you other news, I won't buy you other news. They know that's that. All of them who get caught, they know that's that. We and all those monies can be traced. We're not going nowhere. Right here. We'll be right here. We'll see exactly the truth will come out. I don't care who you support, it doesn't matter. But the truth will come out. The truth will come out. So remember Spoon Talk. Yep. They will know them there. When we say you'll start taking smoke more money on the cover, they don't want to listen to hear that. They fall down inside again. So Joe Popo is saying said we're going to get handle today. Joe Popo is a back. No going down at all. You bring Joe Boy again. They'll bring Joe Boy. They'll be confronted with the facts. They will go in circles and change their stories. The facts will remain. They'll go around the way you'll come by, will still be there. So, I don't know if the other news there. I don't know if the other in other news I'll keep the other news. I will keep the other news. The other one I will keep it. But on some rare note, this thing is getting serious. This thing is hitting home. No joke about it. That Bashir case is very serious. Yes, and I'm saying it again to be on the record that there are members of the Spoon Talk that they receive cash from Bashir. I say it. It will come out. Did I say they're confused? I said Joe Boyka, he threw monkey wrench in a whole case today. They got to call the case on really quick and say he will come out the reading. But we inside, we'll follow the case again. Any day they bring you with your monkey wrench inside. Any day they bring you with your. But let's get to the musical break really quick and we'll get to the show. You know, our guest has been waiting. We'll bring in these two people really quick, and our guest Jay Randy will take on the rest of the time with us today on the show. We got a lot of things to discuss with Jay Randy. We want to ask him one or two questions. But we'll have two guests that will bring in really quick for them to make the point. But let's share the show. Please, let's get to the musical break. Our tradition, our culture, we haven't been able to do so. We'll start with in other news, but we're leaving other news right now. And our hardcore will come out of other news. Y'all know. But we're leaving other news right now for another time. We're leaving other news. So let some of the olden time music that we got that.
On steel.
So they vex. Now because your life improve now, so they vex. Then I see you going up now, so they vex. And I because God smile with you, so they vex. Boy if they vex, let them bust. 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 Play ball, money on you. Play ball, yeah. Tell the people with mama, tell them mama. I said nana because of bathroom, you will say you will not sleep. Every day activities is to monitor your activities. If you like to please yourself, yeah, you can never please him or me. Every day activities is to monitor your activities. You wear clothes, they vex. You progress, they vex. You succeed, they vex. Anything you do, they vex. You working, they vex. You in school, they vex. When they buy your market, they vex. Anything you do, they vex. Just because you looking good now, so they vex. Now because your life improve now, so they vex. See, then I see you going up now, so they vex. And I because God smile with you, so they vex. See, boy if they vex, let them bust. 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 Play ball, money on you. Play ball, money on you. Tell the people with mama, tell them mama. When I'm men, I mean one no. Sick in the waist and I wouldn't. Let they eat that chicken top, but they eat your driver in peace. Someone else say you got friend, but they can go and discuss you. Anything you do, people must talk, people will talk. When you find, they vex. When you shine, they vex. When you smile, they vex. Anything you do, they vex. Pay your house, they vex. You buy your car, they vex. When you get your
I'm a bounce on you with dancing again from the back. That small dancing I was doing the back again, but what? If you're thinking like all the people that are coming on the way test to that small dancing. So really quick, we're gonna bring in two guests from Europe. And they are part of the ANC Global from Europe, the chapter of Europe. They would like to make one or two announcements before we get Jay Randy on and also provide clarity and context. But I'd like to bring them on really quick here. Good afternoon. I'm not sure what time it is in Europe. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to both of you. How are you, gentlemen? Stephen, you are muted. Stephen, will you please unmute yourself? Stephen, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Stephen.
Yeah. Good evening from my end. It's 8:38 from my end. And I'm happy being on first of a kind here on the SK TV show. I'm happy joining the SKTV family. And thank you for the level of reception, for the level of interest in making sure that we provide some context and clarity in regards to, why we are here. So we're happy being on here, also using this place as an opportunity to market our upcoming event. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Judah. Judah, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brother Steve, and it's a pleasure to be on this platform to help inform our people about the situation back home. And I'm grateful for the hard work you guys are doing to help educate our people with misinformation and how things are supposed to be back home. And it's a pleasure.
Wonderful. So we were contacted by I think both of you are from Europe, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
We both at the same time.
Okay. Can you please let us know your roles and what you do, both of you, so that we can know who we're speaking to and who you're representing and so forth?
Yeah, so I'm Stephen Carley Jr., and I'm privileged to serve as the Secretary General of ANC Global Europe Region and the Country Coordinator of ANC Global Germany Chapter. In such capacity, I'm represented here today.
Okay, wonderful. Judah?
This is Judah Farr from Sweden. I serve as an advisor to the leadership in Europe, and I represent ANC as well, and a strong supporter of Mr. Cummings' vision and ideology.
Okay, well, what's going on? Why are you guys here? Why are you? why we got the presence of Europe today in the house or on SKTV? What's going on?
I go first, Steve. Okay.
So go ahead.
There's some misinformation that is on the internet, and we live in a digital age now, where the internet, the Facebook is very powerful, and people spread misinformation to discredit other people and institutions. So when I saw such a thing on the Facebook and I analyzed what the message was, and I decided to counter-check that and come up with the rightful information, because ANC is an institution, it's not about one person. So that's the reason Brother Steve, as a secretary for ANC Global in Europe, we decided to reach out to you so you can help us. You guys have the biggest platform to help clear out this myth or narrative that is out there.
Okay. Well, first of all, just before Steve can speak, please don't get in trouble with big platform people. Then before they start coming here, they can't get hot and big. You don't pour in situation we can't handle. That was Steve. Steve is up.
Brother Steve, it's my opinion. So what other people think about other platforms is up to them, brother.
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, so this is the most objective platform as far as I'm concerned. But on the subject, so in addendum to Mark, and in addition to clearing the air, we are also committed to stealing this opportunity to let the public know of the fastest growing, if you may, the fastest growing organ, within the ANC Global, and that is the ANC Global Europe region. And we also want to use this opportunity to sell out our pending event, which marks the commemoration of Mr. Cummings' visitation to Europe, specifically Germany. So yeah, in addition to clearing the air in regards to what was said yesterday.
Okay, so what was said yesterday that grabbed your attention, that prompted this whole idea of coming out to provide clarity and context? What was said? Because I think I can remember a caller calling from Europe. I'm not sure.
Exactly.
Europe. And I think he called Telv. That was one of the calls that Telv had.
Exactly.
Okay, so
the fellow. Go ahead, brother Steve.
No, go ahead.
Okay. The fellow called yesterday from Germany. I can't remember his name, and then a it got on the social media through one of the guests you bring on later on, which is Jay Rennie, someone that I got great respect for, that I listen to. He's very good. He speaks on the issue. And so we decided to counter, in a positive way, not in a negative way, because the whole thing, we are on the process of structuring how the program's supposed to be. Going to, how they call it, before coming out with certain information, even though we are released, just the fact that Mr. Cummings is coming to Europe. And Mr. Cummings coming to Europe, the fellow said that because he asked a question to Mr. Cummings about his vision. So somebody with a little bit of linguistic skill, then I'm like, okay, I think the fellow has misrepresented or what he's trying to say, because he talked about Mr. Cummings' vision, and vision and attitude are two different things. So when he asked Mr. Cummings, do people around you share your vision? In which I still with my SB, and he answered the question very rightfully that yes, people around him share his vision. Then it got to another level that, okay, certain people within ANC with attitude problem, I think that's what the fellow was trying to talk about. And then Jay Rennie, when I this afternoon listening to Jay Rennie podcast for a couple of minutes, and he tried to change the whole narrative, what the fellow was talking about. So it's the confusion we are here to clarify that Mr. Cummings coming to Europe, he's not coming to Europe for ANC partisan alone, because we in ANC, we know who Mr. Cummings is, we know what his vision is, we know his ambition, and Mr. Cummings has the drive. You can have the vision, and without the drives, you're not getting anywhere. So Mr. Cummings purposely coming to Europe to engage, mainly because we want to win people over. So Mr. Cummings coming to Europe is an opportunity for other Liberians, non-partisan of ANC, to interact with Mr. Cummings. So that's one of the reasons we organized Mr. Cummings coming to Europe. So Brother Steve can come in.
Yeah, so thank you, Mark, for the splendid, clarity you provided. But in addendum, Mr. Bole, contextually, I want people to understand why unite us at the ANC is the ideology, is the vision that Mr. Cummings brings to the table, the vision about dawn of a new day in Liberia. His new vision about Liberia, that resonates with us. His vision about a better Liberia resonates with us. So that is the melting point. That is the point of ideological conglomeration. That is the force that brings us together. So for somebody to think that, it has to do with character, appearances, and whatsoever they think it means, I think that is a mistake. But we want folks out there to understand why unite us in the ANC is because Mr. Cummings' messages resonate deeply with us. Now, moving forward, we also intend to make it clear that Mr. Cummings is aware of the level of individual influence every Liberian living in the diaspora has on the body politics of Liberia as it relates to decision making. Now, in other words, every Liberian in the diaspora that is in touch with their family back home can to some extent influence votes back home. This Mr. Cummings understands so much that he wants to build a relationship with Liberians living in the diaspora. Liberians in Europe and Germany, no exclusion. And this is why he has provided this platform, this opportunity visiting Germany, Europe on a 3-day basis. And there's going to be a couple of activities. Later we'll digress, into the details of the event, But Mr. Cummings wants to interact with the Liberian people, sell his vision, ask for their support. And then the Liberian people, of course, in Europe, Germany, that will be attendance, will have the opportunity to ask Mr. Cummings questions as it relates to their doubts. So yeah, this is the simple reason that folks should make no mistake, absolutely no mistake. Mr. Cummings' interest is to interact with exclusively Liberians, not ANC partisans, And to qualify this, Steve, the Planning and Program Committee is proliferated by folks who are not ANC partisans. I mean, the event manager, the event planning manager is a non-ANC partisan who only subscribes to the ideology and the vision of Mr. Cummings. In Ms. Koutume, Faith Koutume, a very powerful Liberian lady, a humanitarian advocate in Germany.
Okay.
So we do everything possible to open up, this whole planning surrounding Mr. Cummings' visitation to Germany. And trust me, I can give you a list of well-respected individuals and stakeholders, who are Liberians living in Germany. They are deeply involved with the planning activities, and they are non-ANC partisans. So I just wanted to say that to make the point clear that this thing is open to non-ANC partisans.
Okay, so really quick, my colleague Tel is on. I think she had a question or two for you guys. Hopefully we can ask those questions, and then we can transition here to we're ready to bring him on. But then we can set up another time where you can come and advertise your program, and we have to charge you, all the ANC people, to use our platform to advertise your program. Let's see, we're going to put on a costing out for your business, so we'll charge you. Especially
Okay.
Yes, I'll tell you, you have a question or two for the brothers from Europe. Do you have a question for them, Tel?
Yeah, they're done explaining.
Yes, they're done.
Okay, well, thanks, guys, for coming on today. I was concerned too about the feedback from actually Dr. Ishman. I don't know Ishman's last name, but anyway, he's one of the regular followers. First question: have you guys made contact with him? Do you guys know him?
Actually, I don't know him in person, but I still live in Germany, and he gonna answer from his end. The thing here is that it's not about making contact. We could or we should have, but it has gone to the internet, and as I said, the internet is very powerful. And we are not even yet done with the planning of the program, but we send out the internet. Nobody has control over the internet. So the information is out there on the internet that every Liberian is accessible to and are invited. So we have not reached out to the fellow yet. But
okay. No,
yeah.
Go ahead. I understand.
Yeah, Tevi.
Yes.
So Tevi, this is a legit concern. What I can say to this is that, prior to the interview with the political leader yesterday on the SKTV,
do you know
there was a meeting.
Do you know
there was a meeting that the planning committee held, and at that meeting, our committee chairperson, the chairperson on the sub-planning committee on media and communications reported to us that he had a conversation with one Pastor Rahim.
Yeah, I think that's
and I tend to be corrected. This was the individual who perhaps made a call.
I believe so.
So, yeah, Pastor Rahim services, according to the communications man, he requested Pastor Rahim services. He told him clearly that the ANC is open to him, and all of that. Those conversations were held, even though he had his own concerns, and which he advanced on the show at the end of the day. But the bottom line is the ANC is open to everyone in Germany. We've made every effort to make that message clear. And so we definitely will make every effort to reach out to Pastor Rahim. He is a person of interest now as far as we're concerned.
So thank you. And I understand that, this is something that needs to be tackled from 3-6 or different levels, but usually, best practice or just as a process improvement when somebody bring a complaint, and especially for, a growing party or whatever, for whatever reason, to do better, you make contact with that person, however the concern is, you make contact with them. We hear your concern, even though you're going to come on social media. And that's why I asked, there's nothing wrong with you coming here today. I'm just asking if you spoke to the person directly, do you know him? So another question I have, I know you guys said that it's in works, But how are you transmitting the information to the larger public? Are you putting flyers around? Are you in contact with a Liberian organization? How are you disseminating the information to everybody outside of your inner circle?
Thank you.
One of the best way to do it is the internet. As I said, the internet, there are a lot of Liberians, ANC partisans that got tons of friends out there that are not even ANC partisans. So the best way to share is if I put it out on my Facebook page, it's going to be accessible to other people, and another person going to do the same in Germany. Some are going to do the same in Norway. Some are going to do the same in Spain, and the information going to, because we cannot reach everybody individually. So that's why the social media, the internet, is the faster way of getting the message across, which I think is more effective. Concerning the
Judah, give me a second there. I know that what is the fastest way to do it. I'm asking the way you are doing it now to reach the target audience in Germany or Europe.
Okay, Steve.
So we are targeting Liberians living in Europe. We are targeting the entire Liberian community in Europe. So we have a communication and media committee. That committee is trying to arrange engagements with, very, well-followed, social media talk shows like the SKTV, and so, we have this Facebook, regular posting that is done. We have flyers going around. Flyers of different types, you understand? And we're going to do more to get this information out. We intend to reach out to the SKTV family to negotiate coming on here for exclusively publicity on this event.
Are you working with a Liberian organization in Germany? And if there's one there, are you working with them?
Yes, there are several Liberian organizations here, and we are working with them, ranging from the regional Liberian organizations, the country-based ones, the city-based ones. We're working with all of them. There are communications going to them, and we're not just writing organizations, Liberian-based organizations. We also writing Liberian stakeholders within the environment. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Steve. That's it for my end.
All right, thank you, Tel. Let me get to one or two questions here. We'll let you guys go as we thank you for coming on to provide a clarity and context. Thanks for reaching out. We did not know who to contact about Brother Ryan's question. I think it was a valid question, or a valid concern for him, to be quite honest, because I think anything that has to do with Liberian has to do with Liberians. We cannot restrict it to a political party or so forth. But here's my question to both of you. What are you guys doing to also incorporate those in the United States? Because I hear you keep saying Europe and Australia and Canada and other places. So we get blocked, or what is going on? You're more isolated.
Go ahead, Mark. I will come later.
No, Brother Steve, we are not isolating anybody. First of all, the information we have started already to inform few people to help us, for example, share the information, because now it's summertime and some people want to travel. Some might not seen Europe before. They could use the opportunity to come to Europe and have one or two sightseeing. So, but we're in the process of structuring the whole event. So once it's done, then people are going to have enough information as to how it's going to look like when it comes to, for example, hotel, transportation, all these things we're trying to put together. So we don't just want to start sending information out there when the work is not just done. So we're in that process, and hopefully at the end of this month, we'll be done, and we're going to engage Liberian community in Europe and in America. There are a lot of partisans and a lot of non-partisans. I love the Mr. Cummings vision for Liberia and how to incorporate them in the institution. So, Brother Steve, your question is a valid question.
Thank you so much. So, go ahead.
Additionally, we need to understand that contextually, the ANC, Global Europe region, is an offshoot of the ANC Global. We are just a region, a branch, a tentacle by extension of the ANC Global. So everything we do here is supported fully by ANC Global. I mean, by the leadership of Chairman Mongers and the rest of his lieutenants. They support us in full. And so to speak, they are coming. I mean, the leadership of ANC Global is going to be fully represented. You know, the biggest thing that would have happened to us is to see Steve Bullet here covering this event.
Oh,
that is why we want. Yeah, that is why we actually want.
Y'all make the communication official, and we'll look at it and look at our options. But here is something I wanted to ask you guys just before we take a leave of both of you. Which city in Germany, which time of the year are you guys having this event?
So thank you. You try as much as possible to make sure that we only come here to clear the air. We don't say our event. If we must do that, we must pay for it. But honestly, at least this question is going to allow us to say a little. So the program is happening in Hanover. Hanover is the capital city of the northwest part of Germany. It is the best city around here. Come and enjoy your summer. Trust me, it's happening. Mr. Cummings is arriving here as far as we are concerned, as it stands. Mr. Cummings is arriving here July 8th. The event, starts July 8th. Of course, we got a meet and greet July 8th, in the evening of July 8th. And then on July 9th, we have a kickball game it's going to be between the ANC women, kickball team and the All-Star Liberian team women, from Germany kickball team. And then after that, we have a soccer match that's going to be happening between the All-Star Liberian team here from Germany and the ANC soccer team. After that, we're going to have an intellectual symposium, as we always say, the Palava Hall, or how do we call it? Yeah, Palava Hall conversation is going to be happening. So that is the major platform. Mr. Cummings is going to sell his vision, interact with librarians. Librarians going to interact with him. After that event, we have a big fundraiser going on. I mean, the hall is booked. Everything is arranged. We have a fundraiser going on. We're going to raise enough of money to support, the change process in Liberia through Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, especially his Agenda 2023. After that event, of course, there's a display of talents, and there's going to be a talent show also. So it's going to be a whole basic night taking us to the next morning, 4 a.m.
Okay.
And last to add on that, Steve, just a few seconds. We have we have allocated special time for non-partisan to have like 1 or 2 minutes interaction with Mr. Cummings. Yeah, it's a provision we're going to make available. So it's not for ANC partisan, but for non-partisan, so they can have that little chat with Mr. Cummings and see the actual person that he is, because people only know him from a far distance. But interacting with him in a one-on-one situation is an opportunity we want to afford to non-partisan. We want to win people over, and we are grateful for being here, Brother Steve.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we'll not allow you guys to go too much into your talking points before we start to charge you up. So the guys from Germany and the guy from Sweden, right? You from Sweden, Judah?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Stockholm, Sweden.
Stockholm, Sweden. That's wonderful. Well, we wish you all the best. And when you guys are ready to pay the fees to do your publicity and to do your launching or whatever it is, you're more than welcome. We'll be here waiting for you. In the meantime, we want to say thank you for being on and thanks for reaching out. And to any other party, feel free to reach out to us. If you have any question, any concern, you want to clarify some things. I said today that JMB before that inside he confused the whole process. If Unity Party partisan thing, I'm lying. Book a slot on SKTV. Come, let's talk about it. I'll provide you with the facts and the evidence that we've gathered. But JMB, Joe Boy, indeed, did throw Morgan Range in the whole case and confuse everybody. Even the Solicitor General are confused. They know what's going on. Everybody confused, throw a huge Morgan Range. But guys, thank you so much. We'd like to, what's your parting comments quick? 30 seconds for each of you. Parting comments really quick, please.
Yes, so Steve, I'd like to say thumbs up to the SKTV family for having us on. I want to use this opportunity to say thumbs up to my leader, Mr. Margot, the leader of the ANC Global, for providing us the opportunity. Thumbs up to our man, Paul Triple, who is the regional coordinator of the Europe region. He's a wonderful leader. Thumbs up, of course, to the event manager, Madam Faith Koutume, who has been very, very, very much Wonderful. So, I mean, thumbs up to everyone within the ANC. I mean, we happy being here. We hope to be here next time.
Thank you.
My closing comment is that I want to say thank you for having us here, and every Liberian is welcome to the program in Germany. Not how they call it, ANC partisan, but every Liberian, because we want the good of Liberia. We want Liberia to be better. So every Liberian is welcome, and I'm thankful for being here, Brother Steve.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, a quick musical break, and then we'll bring J. Randy in, which is our guest for today, so that we can have one or two conversations with him. Those were the folks from really quick. Let's get to a quick musical break here. We're not going to other news again. Y'all let noise be in it. We'll bring.
So moral, you post a new car on Facebook. But that's so la la, you working better. Loving and acting jealous, say you photo. My advice for you, in my way, I got to confess. Confession, you gotta confess. You must have the impression. Enjoyment, got your blessing. Enjoyment, no much.
Une hater would say I was not dancing in the back. Une hater would say that. Une haters would say I was not dancing in the back. You're supposed to see dancing in the back. That enjoyment music. You're supposed to see real shaking body and movement. I bounce on you in the back with dancing again. Yeah. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we want to say thank you for sticking and staying with us. We got 1 more minute, in as much that J. Rainey is already here. We got 1 more minute. Really quick to recap for those of you who are just joining us. We want to recap on some things while we get J. Randy on here. He's already set, ready to go to join us. We want to say to all of you, I want to bring this to your attention that today, the court case, in other news, JMB Joe Monger, Bob Joe Monger in the whole case. He got confused everybody. Confused the whole court. 1 minute no comments, 1 minute he recognized the document, and the other document recognized his son, 1 minute that the other person's son. No, JMB for he just throw Monger in the whole thing. JMB made the whole UPU, you were on the 4 inside. As a matter of fact, let me read something quick, and then right after that, we'll bring J. Randy on. Let me read something to you guys. A1 tells JMB throw Monger reading 18 things that I like. But Joe might confuse us again. He bounced on the confuse. I swear for that inside. But Joe confused us. Look, but Joe confused us up to the point that you were asked to excuse the cross-examination of Joseph Yuma Braga. You were. I said, if you said a lot, ask the people who were in the court. If these documents are not from the court, you were who lay a complaint. But you told Montgomery, no, what did you said? You said, but wait a minute. What's going on here? We caught our man Bob Joe. Bob Joe, can you talk to something different? Oh, Bob Joe, that's sticking with the program. Bob Joe just confusing everybody, not sticking with the program. Hey, I'm telling you guys, this is serious. Bob Joe was not sticking with the program, he just confused everybody, throw money in here and there, just talking confusing things. This is a serious issue. This is not a joking thing. That's what we told them from the beginning. Don't bring Bob Joe. Bob Joe will confuse. Yeah. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. Let's bring J. Randy on really quick. Bob Joe confused the guy who made a complaint. He confused you at the USA. He gotta be out. USA, he gotta take a break. he gotta go. He can't stand the level of confusion. Sereno Cephas was dumbfounded and confused. Anyways, let's bring Jay Randy on. Jay Randy, how are you, my man?
Man, I'm doing great, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to have my say on your show today. It's always my pleasure to be here. Again, I would like to ask your audience to forgive me because I'm not going to be live like this. I'll be in the back end just like 16, but I just wanted to take this moment just to let them see me, and then from there we can kick off if everything works for you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I know you did tell us from the initial stage that you would be in the back end. Thanks for letting the audience know. As many of you are already aware, this is Jay Randy. He's not a stranger to SKTV. Jay Randy has been on SKTV numerous times. He's one of our contributors here. We invite him here and there. And, you know, he's always available when we reach out to him or when we have to have a conversation when he has something to say that he wants to communicate, not only to his audience, but to other Liberians who follow SKTV as well. Sometimes we schedule some of these shows, and he's always open to come on the show and have a conversation with us. First of all, I'd like to start off with some of your research that you have been doing, especially in terms of last week. You sometimes, I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe over the weekend. Over the weekend, you did one or two investigations, and this has to do with Mr. Costa and Lizanna B. Cummings. You did one or two research, and you did tell us that you would share some of your findings, especially when it came to paper. Would you please let us know what you find out and what's going on, please?
Yes. Again, let me apologize for not being live. This is not my usual style, so your audience should please bear with me. So, Moses, I want you to understand that, and I want your audience to also understand that I don't belong to any political party. That is a fundamental belief I want people to have of me. And
Rennie, can you please speak up a little? Can you be a little audible, please?
Okay.
Wonderful. I think it's much better.
It's much better now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. All right. So I said I want everyone to know that the Jay Randy you're listening to right now, I do not belong to any political party. I belong to the people of Liberia, and I also have an obligation to discuss this issue that matters the most to the people of Liberia and the future of Liberia. That being said, I will go after any politician, talk show host who is in the business of misleading the people, and I want the people to be able to understand who that person is, what their objectives are, so that they can make an informed decision based on what I think they need to know. So that means you can be in a position where you have watched a video in the past. I can go back to that video and do a forensic analysis of that video, and you will get to see things that you never imagined that you could ever see. So Mr. Costa, over the past time, has said a lot of dirty things about Mr. Cummings, which I really disagree with. And this story was going around that he has begged, Mr. Cummings for money, and people were doubting it. And I always tell people, if I don't know any information about you, it would be very difficult for me to bring information out about you. But Costa has been someone that I have decided to follow, documenting, whether it's documentation, audio, video. I have everything of him because I know who he is. And so this video conversation with Spoon Talk, I brought that conversation up, and Costa has been nothing but against Mr. Cummings because his expectation has been Cummings being part of the CPP, who gave him the opportunity where he can siphon money from Mr. Cummings to pay his friend, to feed his child, to pay his staffer. These words are not coming from me. Those who listen to that show on this past Saturday will attest to that. And he said he's doing all these things because he does not own any loyalty to the ANC, to the Unity Party, and to the CPP. He only belongs to the ALP. And as a businessman, as he claimed, a father, and of course, a talk show host, he owes no loyalty to anyone. So during the conversation, he got frustrated because Mr. Ure, according to him, has helped him along the way. But his expectation, as he said, there were other millionaires, all right, millionaire in the party. He started to, he was very generous. But we all know that Joseph Boakai has said that he's not a millionaire. He begged money from, he borrowed money from the bank. Namdi Kanga, she hasn't declared anything. Only company that we know that is up to that standard. And he expected Mr. Cummings to provide him with some financial assistance that would afford him the opportunity to meet a basic life essential needs. And because those expectations weren't met, he decided to do a business with Mr. and Dr. Cassette. I'm going to just say Dr. Cassette. So the issue became a concern from the Spoon Talk people that you are doing business with a guy who is trying to unseat George Weah, but he's not in a collaboration with you guys. And he said he don't care about the party. He doesn't care about the coalition. So that just speaks to the fact that those who support him based on their support for their party to unseat George Weah, they were only wasting their time. So I make sure that was brought to the light of the people as to who the guy is. And I'm glad that many people, because if I get 50 people watching me, it means that I won the greatest prize in the world. So I got almost like 2,300 people listening to that, and I think that was a very good still of my message to the Liberian people. And I encourage them to go out there. So that was the funding that I got. And I'm calling on all the ANC people to talk to Mr. Cummings, whether they're in the inner circle or the outer circle, to talk to Mr. Cummings that under no circumstances that he should give Mr. Costa any money, because Mr. Costa is not in the interest of any political party but himself. He's not in the interest of the Liberian people but himself. And such a man with such an idea and belief system is very dangerous to the future and the challenges of that country, because it's all about him and only him.
All right. Well, that's I remember vividly that clip, and the reason I remember is this, because I was watching Spoon that same day when he made those statements, and I think Stanton picked up my writings and he put it up on the dashboard where he talked about, I did say, I don't remember exactly, but let me kind of recollect what I said. I did say the CPP, that Costa was being disrespectful to the CPP, that he was undermining the CPP. He cannot be an executive in the CPP, by extension the ALP, because he's an executive in the ALP and I stand to be corrected. And being the CPP, yet working for what he named Dr. Cassell at the time, it shows that he's undermining the CPP. It does not make any sense, because Dr. Cassell evidently was working to become a president, to become the president of Liberia. So you working for Dr. Cassell, it shows that you are undermining the CPP. What is your loyalty? Where is your interest at that point? The next day, Costa went on his show and he insulted me. But I know for a fact that he will not try again, even when he is asleep. When he is asleep and he thinks about that, he will wake up from sleep because he's having a bad dream. Because myself, who here too, I came on the show. I never insulted him, but I was able to deal with him as well, to put him in check and put him in place, and put all his constitution in check as well, because I don't play like that. No, I don't. So since that day, in your lane, in my lane, we still brothers, we're straight. But it doesn't mean I will not hold him accountable, I will not call him out. So yes, he did. He did say that, and that was a huge conflict of interest. But again, that is the man we know. The only people that don't believe that he can do such things are constitutions and those people who are baptized with his level of stupidity, but that was on them. We have graduated out from seditions to constitution. The two group of people that misbehaving, like a problem that we need to pray for, or we need anointing for them, or some kind of deliverance for them. That some of JB support us and constitutions, especially constitutions. They need deliverance. But let's get to some substantive issues here, because Costa is not going to change. He's going to be like that till he dies, or till he leaves this earth. He's going to be crooked. There is nothing he can do at his age. He's not going to leave that lifestyle. He's never going to leave that lifestyle. Nope. He's not going to leave it. There is no way he will leave it. Let me just let you know today. He will not leave that lifestyle. Exactly. So that's who he is. It's just that people just got to wake up from their slumber and get serious. But let's get to some issues here. Most recently, we heard about I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. We heard about the core group. The core group. And I've been, Martin Kula was on here. He did talk about it. As of today, let me read a post, a quotation from one of the guys. Samula. Let me read a quotation from Samula. I think it was sent to me. Let me read a quotation from Samula. Samula was one of the AFP executives that resigned from the AFP. Okay. And Samula was one of the guys that also made a revelation about this same core group. I want to be clear on something before I go any further to my Oma animal. Mama, I'm not talking to you. That's why I said some of JMB supporters. I didn't say all of them. Especially the younger ones. The younger ones, something wrong with them. Most of the younger ones. Something wrong with them. I'm not talking about you, no, I said some of them. So I want to be clear on that one. I will not include me into that. No. I respect the fact that you are a JMB supporter, and that's good. No problem with that. But let's get to this. So somebody made a post.
Okay.
And this is the post. If you come after my life, you will meet stiff resistance. God is my protector. Beware of the wrath of God. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. I don't know what you make of this, because these guys made a revelation, and we followed the story about the core group. I do have names of the people that are in the core groups and times and everything. I do have it here. I meant to present other news, but because we had to bring you guys on. What do you make of this? And if you've done any research on this or so forth, if you follow this story?
Well, first of all, it's not being Liberian to threaten anybody's life. So if what I just heard from you is a threat on that man's life, I think whoever is the sponsor of that group and the individual, they are not Liberians, and because Liberians don't believe in threatening people's lives. As far as knowing this group, Moses, I got to hear about them for the first time when you were on your show. I don't know who is behind that group, which political party is behind that group. I don't know. I don't know during the interview whether you managed to ask them which party they belong to, but I did get to hear what their position were, what their purpose were all about. So that's all I think I know about them as far as my research. I haven't gone into them yet because they had not really fall in my radius, my circumference radius, to see what they are all about. But I will be interested in knowing from you what their intent are and who they actually trying to defend or promote, and then that way I can be able to give you a generic behavior pattern about what the intentions are. Because think about this, all the guys that are in the higher level of politics, all the guys that are in the second level of supporting role, and all the different young generation, the secondary level and the upper level, these guys are all recycle individuals. Politicians in Liberia are recycle. The supporters mainly are recycle people. So that means I know their behavior, I know their interaction. And when I put both of them together, the byproduct that I get from there is to tell the younger generation whether they are a good investment or not. So I don't know who the guys are, Moses, but I'll be very interested in knowing from you what interest do they have and which political party or organization do they support with that interest.
Okay, just before we get into something that I want to get attention on in your field or in your area, because it's becoming of a concern. Not necessarily that there's this redundancy, but it's becoming of a concern. I wanted to go back to circle around something about this group, about this core group, before I get into the area of concern expertise here. Let me go into this core group. Something I wanted to, when people support people and you present a fact that goes against that person, people start to have problems with you. They start to.
That's true.
So they would never question you before. They want to question you today. It's funny. I see that from all sides of the aisle. But I want to I'm getting to the core group information here because we do have some of the information here. So basically, this core group was founded sometimes in September. Of, hold on, let me go back to them. Let me go back to the time they were created, because I have the information about the time they were created. Hold on, and I will tell you exactly who left when they left the group, because the names are mentioned here. It's interesting, and you can't make this up. You can't make this up. So let me get to the time. Hold on 1 second, Randy. I have all these different things that I have to go through. Give me 1 more second. I think I have it here. Guys, bear with me. All right, very good. Let me see the time. So this core group was created September 29, 2019. So that's immediately or around the same time they founded the CPP. And when they founded this core group, there were names of people that were there, and I'm seeing the same Momo Samola guy. I'm seeing Momo Samola. I'm seeing some key players names here. But fast forward, let me go to what I wanted to bring to the public attention about this core group, because it's important for us to point out some names. We bring an issue, we'll discuss it. We will not discuss people's private life, but as long as it concerns Liberia, trust me, we talk about it. So Martin Kula founded this core group, and this core group had LP, which is the Liberty Party, and UP. So around May 26th. So there's a person called Gooden. Gooden's left. He left the group on May 26, 2020. There is someone called ALP Mount County. They left May 31st, 2021. ALP Reverend Stepta, LP Jala, and UP chairman.
Yeah.
They left United Party chairman. The chairman at that time for United Party, I'm not sure if that Amin Moda, whoever it was, but they left May 31st, 2021. So less than a year ago. They call group there are two. So-called are two. These are so-called thing. They think there are two.
Okay.
They're torso, they think there are two. So Steven Zago was part of the group as well. Hold on 1 second. Let me go to other key actors that were part of the group here. They even got as far as when they went to the 20 facts being told. I've not seen Dara Dillon name here. I've not seen Senator Dara Dillon name here. I'm not seeing it on the list here. We got to say the truth, where the truth belongs. Like Martin Kula said, the political leaders were not in this group. but yet they had their representatives, such as the party chairmen. They had key officials of the parties that were part of this core group, and that we would report to them. So, like you said earlier, I'm a little concerned. Not only a little, I'm very concerned about these kind of groups. Some people say, well, it's not uncommon to have these kind of groups, but it's very concerning at this stage that oppositions would be forming opposition among themselves. Now, if you don't trust somebody, you might as well not be in a correlation or in a collaboration with them. So I'm not sure if this is the origin of the whole CPP framework document or other people leaving. I'm not sure. What do you think, J. Randy? I'm not sure if this is the start of everything.
Yeah, so let me just ask you this one question, and then I will be able to better answer your concern.
Mm-hmm.
The Martin Kulaga, I think I just heard you say he is the founder, right? He established that group?
Yes.
Do you know which party he sourced from?
He's from the Liberty Party.
Okay. All right. Liberty Party. And today he is the one coming out now to give the real information out?
Yes, and he's currently, so to give context here to you, probably like you said, you haven't been following this whole thing. Martin Kula is the current Secretary General of the Liberty Party. He's also the guy, remember, a guy that resigned from Dara Dillon's office last year around August. Hello?
Yes,
He resigned from Senator Darius Dillon's office last August. And so he and Senator Darius Dillon have been going back and forth over this allegation that money was deposited in his account at a certain time. He found it suspicious as well. So they went through this whole big noise. So he's the one coming up now with this revelation. Now, Momo Samula also was an executive in ALP. Momo Samula resigned. And according to him, that's going to be correct, the reason he resigned from the ALP is because he was not okay with them taking Alexander Cummings to court. He was not okay with it. He said it was not the right thing to do. And so he has other reasons that he stated, but these are some of the basic reasons for which he resigned, And so this is the context of this whole thing, and this is the issue why this guy brought this whole business out.
Yeah. So it's very, it seems to be a very complex situation, as the eye can see and the ear can understand. I don't know why they decided to establish that group, because the purpose for why they established the group, has not been established. I think I heard you say you don't know whether they were established to draft the document or to
the purpose for establishing the group is clear. They made it clear that they did not trust Alexander Cummings from the beginning. They thought he was coming there to exploit or to benefit from them. So the goal was they would collaborate in the collaboration, form a solidarity or whatever it is amongst those three parties, and then eventually get rid of Wahenin.
So you're trying to discredit somebody before you even go in relationship with the person. So what sense does that make?
Exactly.
What sense does that make? Look, it just goes to show that I have no credibility in your Martin Kula, whoever, because they did it intentionally.
Right.
They did it intentionally. They are all being put to shame. That's why they're coming out now to play the victim role. You are a psychologist, you know that. They all plan this thing out, and because they are getting a slap in the face, so they're now coming out now and want to plead the innocent. They know more than what they did over there. So I ain't giving no credit as to what they are now coming out.
And Randy, you made a very good point, but to his credit, he came out and took full responsibility about his actions.
Taking full responsibility.
You are standing far. You are standing far from the field.
At what point do you take full responsibility? Did you assess the fix for the beginning because of whether this thing will turn into
Rennie, we
something.
can't hear you. You're muffling. Rennie,
Yeah, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
you're sounding far from the phone. I can't.
All right, can you hear me now? Am I okay
Yeah,
now?
wonderful. Yes, you're much clearer.
All right, my apologies. I was saying, I understand you saying that he took full responsibility. Before
Right.
you take full responsibility of anything, there are two types of responsibility you must take. You should take a responsibility if you got a piece of job to undertake. That means you are going to do it to the best of your ability. And the reason you're going to do that is because you understand what the job tax is, you understand the responsibility of the role, and then you also look at the risk associated. If the guy knew very well that they did not trust Comey, why did they bring Comey into the conversation in the first place? Why? In the real world, those things are done through proper vetting. You vet people to know their past, to determine their future, and to determine whether they can work with you. These guys, in my observation of them, they are only coming out now because they had no level of trust in them. Liberty Party do not trust them. Unity Party do not trust them. They're now coming out now to buy the forgiveness of the people out here. They got no interest, Moses. That's so. I will leave it at that. They got no interest. They should be ashamed of themselves. Yes, they should be ashamed of themselves.
I will agree with you. I will agree with you 100% that this is wrong at all levels. And it's there is no way to excuse this. It's unacceptable.
Yep.
And it's very, and that's why I say it's troubling. To be honest, Wendy, this is troubling because
Yep.
if people can go ahead and start plotting like this,
Yeah.
the question is, what else are they doing that we're not aware of?
So let me ask you the question, Moses.
Mm-hmm.
If Comey, according to the plan, they say they set on track for Comey, right?
Right.
And if Comey had left and the collaboration, were these guys going to come out to say, oh, we apologize, we set Comey up? No.
More likely not. And I'd have to agree with you.
I would not put any precondition there. Knowing who they are, Liberian, I would say they were never going to come out. But
I agree.
Because the plan failed now, they know Comey and his supporters, they are now beginning to look at every one of them. Because during the interview on your show yesterday, Comey said, after Sekou asked him, do you regret? He said no, but I have learned a lot. That I have learned a lot. Comey already know who those guys are. He knows them right now. So they're trying to be the first now to plead. And when they say submit yourself, rather than you being someone, they're submitting themselves now because of what they had done. Don't give a guy no credibility. They ain't work for anything.
So you think this is a throwing under the bus movement?
Now throwing under the bus movement is a very classic word. Let me give you a crack as in CRASS. All right, it is deception. It is dishonesty. That's who they are. Those guys should never be part of any organization that is geared towards putting a team of people together to achieve a common goal. The fact that you got a preconceived mind of someone that you are not working with, all right? You don't know the man from nowhere, but you know the man has a character that everyone knows. And then you coming out and having a preconceived mind. You know when I say evil doer, evil thinker, they are the one who had that mindset. That why they perceive that mindset of Comey that they know Comey doesn't really represent. And the reality came out directly opposite of what their mind were. They were the evil doers. So now they all coming outside now to say, oh, we're not part of that, we're not part of that. I ain't get it. Think about those guys, Moses.
All right. Well, let's get to something that you're passionate about. I know.
Yes, sir.
Environmental services is one of your biggest things that you are very passionate about. Part of your profession, things that you do or whatever now. Most recently, the index came out from the report came out from the Environmental Performance Index, and it shows that unfortunately, Liberia is the dirtiest country in Africa. First of all, what do you make of that? Just that nomenclature or that title that we want ourselves. What do you make of that?
We are all dirty people. We are all dirty people. All the Liberians, we are all dirty people. Because we see the dirt, we sit in the dirt, we eat in the dirt, we do in the dirt. We are all dirty people. That means that we all should hold ourselves.
Oh wow. So does that mean does that corroborate? Go ahead, please.
Yeah. I mean, to answer your question, we are all dirty people. All right? Yes. We are all dirty people. Why are we all dirty people? We are all dirty people because we know what dirt is and we should begin to do.
Oh wow. Okay.
Of the Republic of Liberia. Can you hear me there, Moses?
No, I hear you. I hear you. So does that corroborate what was said by one of the foreign dignitaries and other people around the world and other Liberians who have confirmed that, especially Monrovia is dirty? This is a confirmation?
Yeah, I mean, people, our partners, especially one of the European guys who said the city was dirty.
Right.
That is what we call the third eye. Your set of eyes will get used to seeing something, and then it will adapt to it. But somebody with a third eye will come and really tell you that what you are actually adapting yourself to, it is not a good shape and form. He's not doing it to hurt you. He's trying to tell you that, look, what you think is normal, it is abnormal. It's not good for you. And that should be something that the government should have taken into serious consideration. So it did not want to collaborate. It just goes to show that the government of George Weah does not take advice from anyone, because the government of George Weah live with pride and ignorance. Pride and ignorance is the major diseases that is killing the George Weah administration. They are not willing to accept their deficiency. They are not willing to be schooled. They are not willing to understand that they have more problem than the solution they're talking about. So to put that on the bigger platform, yes, it does collaborate not only with what was said by the European guy, it collaborated with many Liberians who have been sounding the whistle that the city is dirty. Do something. Do something. So now you have the major institution that has carried out the great research. Because remember, that research came from your university.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, it came from your university. And there are certain computer models that they look at to determine the key performance. And going further deeper, your university is also part of the global greenhouse gas emission. They set some of the parameters. For example, they got school 1, school 2, school 3, that look at all the different performance in every country, at the company level, the individual level, and from any other institution level. So that information is clearly true. And it just goes to show that we have a government that is way Congo message, beyond the comprehension of what it means to run a better country.
So Rennie, what does this mean in terms of health and also Hardzat? What does it mean based on your profession? What does this mean for the country and the citizens?
For the environment, if you listen to the guy who provided narrative, he stated 3 components. One, if you have a bad environment, that means you got a short life expectancy. That's something very important. So people that are dying of different diseases in the country that cannot be determined is because the air, the water, the soil, they are at the highest level of contamination and pollution. So people with any kind of occupational diseases, any kind of respiratory problem will die quickly, because when the air is polluted, you cannot breathe well. When the soil is contaminated, you are susceptible to inhaling chemicals into your body system that could affect you. Now, when it comes to the health basically look at public health. People sitting in waterside with feces gushing out of those clogged up sewage system. They're sitting there, the flies, the different rodents, the roaches, rats, create typhoid fever and other sickness such as dysentery. When you look at the entire ecosystem of our country, that includes the fish, the bird. When you look at our water system, 2 rivers that go along Masorado there, it looks like a brown coffee. The reason it looks like brown coffee because the water is over contaminated and polluted by different substances. That's why the water changed. People who lived in that area back in the early 80s, 70s, they will tell you, say, our bare eye could see through the depth of that water. But today, it is an impossibility. The overcrowdedness of Monrovia, 1.1 million, and with the not so better solid waste management of our waste, people have to put that to wherever it is. So that tells you that the key major component that make your country, my country, to have an excellent environmental record, the environment, the health, and the entire ecosystem. It's like your last name, your family name. Everybody in your family, they are bad people. That's the ecosystem. So if our whole ecosystem is considered to be bad, then everything inside is bad. So with that, the percentage they gave up, 22%, they are measuring it over 100. So imagine you got 22% over 100. You are far below the expectation. That means the country is unsafe for anybody. And that will cause many people today, you see, when children are born with different medical deformities, it's because of the environment. The fetus, during the developing state of the fetus, you want to stay away from bad pollution. Because while the fetus is developing in the stomach, if anything goes in there, it has a higher risk of affecting the child. So nowadays, you find a lot of children being born with different, and birth defects and stuff like that. It's not which. It's because of the bad environment. So that's where we are. But the question is we are waiting for the tax. You got a guy who is at the EPA that graduated when the EPA was just becoming an institution in America to create awareness. You got people over there who just went and just got book education and come and sit down, they don't read all the book, they got no solution. Because the text knowledge cannot be the actual reason to solve. But there is a solution. But I would not say it yet because you are warning so many times not to provide solution to anybody. And Mr. Steve, I never took any advice from you. I'm hanging on to them one year now. We will not give them no damn advice. Excuse for my language.
Yeah, it shouldn't be free. It should not be free. But
Yes,
let me ask you this question a little further. We've heard of in Labram, some of us quick to gravitate towards individuals and so forth. We've heard of Mayor Burr and so forth. Do you think this whole issue of sanitation is an inherited problem from other governments or the previous government that the we-led government is struggling with? Or do you think this is something that someone would say maybe lost an article, or they're not paying any attention, or they haven't gotten the right people to do the job and they don't want to seek help to get the right people? What would you say? Or is it a combination?
Well, I would take the first choice of words. It is an inherited problem, but the inheritance of the problem would depend in which direction we define. But we are already defined it for us. You see, when you take over another administration, you inherit everything. But in order to maintain what has been put in place is where the inheritance will either become negative or positive. Mary Brown operated under a direct mandate from Ellen Johnson City, who really wanted to see a clean city. While it is true that he was not environmentally, Mary Brown was a person who, when you gave her the jail tax, she would ensure that everyone on her team will do their part. And if she needed any assistance, she would go out there and seek for assistance. On the other hand, when Mr. Weah took office, he neglected every process and every standard that was put in place to ensure that what Mary Brown did to keep the city, to show that we are screwed up. Remember when Jefferson Koji started, what did they do? They brought in Mary Brown, right? Okay, that's evident that they did that Mary Brown. But what did they do to Mary Brown that Eddie did differently from Mary Brown? During early time, Mary Brown performed excellently. During Weah time, Mary Brown became a statue. She was limited. So the inheritance of anything depends on the agenda, the tune the person will set. So it is pride and ignorance that got Weah government suffering in every sector of that country today. because Mary Brown was very successful on Ellen, but she became unsuccessful on the Jefferson Koji team. So it is not the inheritance, but what are you doing with the inheritance, according to how you describe it, is what will make you successful.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Well, I want to come back to the politics. I don't know if you follow what happened today at the courts in terms of Joseph Yuma Boaka's testimony. I term it as, and I've decided to call him Joe Boy going forward. I term it as Joe Boy through Monkey Range in and confuse everyone, because Joe Boy, first of all, said that he does not know Cummings, apart from the fact he got to know Cummings only the time they started working in the CPP or so forth. But there are evidence that prove the contrary. So let me ask you a broader question first of all. What do you make of Joe Boy taking the stand? What do you make of that?
Look, if it's up to me, if I were maybe Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, I would offer Joe Boyka some retirement package to leave politics. The old man is completely exhausted. Joe Boyka is completely exhausted, Steve Body. But people who are behind Joe Boyka, they see this thing as a last minute to the time collection for themselves. This old man, I'm sorry for classifying like that, but I'll just say Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe has completely worn out. From his mental state of mind to his physical well-being, he's completely worn out. So what has happened today? Uncle Joe can barely use a touchscreen phone. Everything that Uncle Joe does internally is micromanaged by somebody else. So his ability to stand alone is a challenge. His ability to remember things is a challenge, because internally everything is done for Uncle Joe. So by him going out there, putting himself in a indoor space to defend what he wants to say, he will prove his limitation because of the assistance, the enormous assistance he gets at home that you and I don't get to see. And I believe one of the reasons why they have been postponing is because they tried to help him understand what he could do when he go out there to explain himself. So from what I'm hearing from you, that Joseph Boyka is telling you that he only got to know Cummings through the CPP. Cummings one time was given the highest honor as a librarian for the great success he had during the Eddie administration. Wasn't Joseph Boyka there and interacted with Cummings before? Prior to the election of George Weah, wasn't Joseph Boyka along with the late Bronski, Ure went together and got together and went to the Supreme Court to file voter irregularity? I guess that other Cummings there was maybe Cummings twin brother, right? And the Cummings twin brother in America now. You see, what the guys failed to understand was this thing called social media, this thing called the internet. It has brought every country to have their citizens in other countries focus on things that happen in the country if you decide to follow things in your country. Many Liberians are of different mindsets and different data points and collection. So Joseph Boyka and his folks feel that what people don't know, it will not hurt them. But what they fail to realize, that there are other Liberians who track things. And if they try to do things, we will come here and fact check them. I understand that many Liberians live in present memory. Things that happened last year, many Liberians cannot relate to that because they live in present memory. But not every one of us live in present memory, because we always analyze things from the past memory, looking at the present memory to look at the future memory. So Joseph Boyka, I'm not surprised. If you recall, that guy with the live mob, what did he say one time when Joseph Boyka was being interviewed by the BBC journalist? When they asked Mr. Boyka, are you going to separate have you separated your vision from Ellen? And Joseph Boyka said, we'll complement Ellen's vision. And the live mob guy said, you see how the man works? Let people hear. Joseph Boyka the mind is not mentally fit to do anything. Now, he can
When you're having very bad reception.
Because all right, let me get in the house. Let me get in the house because I'm in the parking lot. Let me get in the house. I'm getting in the house now, guys. Let me get in the house.
Watch your Randy is getting in the house. If you're just following us, we'll open the line to take about 5 calls. Just to interact with J. Randy and I here. We're having different conversations on different national issues. I other people call JMB Uncle Joe. That's fine. You have the right to call him however you want to call him. I call him Joe Boy. I call him Joe Boy. And that's how I will call him. That's how I choose to call him, Joe Boy. No disrespect, but that's how I choose to call him. Some people call him Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai. I would urge you to not call him Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai. If you want to call him anything, call him by his latest title, which is the VP, former VP, because that's the latest title. So, but again, people use different phrases or different things to mean, or different names to mean different things. But truth be told, Joseph Yuma Boakai, Joe Boy, through Morgan Range, he confused everybody. Every time I think about it, every time I talk about it, I get laugh. It may confuse everybody today. So I'm still wondering if they'll bring it back. After Serena Seafood makes such a big mouth, if anyone doubted this case, I'll start witness. If anyone, they start witness that, hello, confused witness. They start winning confused. Start winning, can you remember what's going on? They start winning, not in touch with reality. I saying it. Y'all go make sure in your course. I don't get a problem with that one. Star Witness is not in touch with reality. He doesn't know what's going on. And so that's what we are. Okay, you are in your favorite spot, J. Randy. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So thank you so much, Moses. Yeah, thank you. And thanks for
let's
your
get your point on that. As you were saying, please, because you're breaking through.
Yeah, so what I was saying here, I don't know where we broke apart with my explanation, but what I wanted your audience to understand here is this. Joseph Boakai, I will call him Joseph Boakai or Uncle Joe, he's completely depleted. There is nothing left in the tank for Joseph Boakai to be administratively measured. So people believe that Joseph Boakai is able to run the country. But what we are witnessing right now, it is a clear manifestation that he is not able to run the country. Why? Because Mr. Boakai at home is giving 98% assistance of everything that he does, from checking his cell phone, looking at computer emails, and even signing documents. He is completely unable to do those things by himself. And one of the reasons why he has been avoiding going to the court, because they wanted him to rehearse what he would say, but time is running out. So going over there, taking him there, is a clear manifestation and a proven fact that Joseph Boakai is not in any shape or form to run Liberia. His functional capacity is very, very low. His memory to remember things is also low. His ability to articulate the issue is also low. He wouldn't speak less than 5 to 10 minutes. That's it for him. But these guys who beyond Joseph Boakai fail to realize that today Liberia is not like the past. The global community of social media, the internet, and other media sources, have brought Liberians together to focus on our country. So while they believe that Liberians back home wouldn't live on present memory and not past memory, we over here, you, myself, your audience, we all live on past memory to look at what is happening in present memory to determine future memory. We now know from what you experience from the court and you telling your audience that Mr. Boakai is saying that he doesn't know or he never knew coming until this CPP collaboration, which is not true. Mr. Boakai knew Mr. Cummings when early honor Mr. Cummings and gain the highest honor. Mr. Walker worked with Mr. Cummings during the CDC George Weah election when he joined with Chad Walker Bronsky, Ure, and himself. They went to court to challenge the election result on the issue of voter irregularity. He had worked with Cummings on several occasions. They had met. But apparently, because of his low memory he has, he cannot barely remember anything. This is where we are. But they just using Joseph Boyka because the guy with the loudmouth, he won't say he knows how Joseph Boyka mind works. So he knows Joseph Boyka is an empty frame that then need to be filled with somebody who is using to his own liking.
Okay, so while we wait a call or two here just to get our audience to participate before we call it a day.
Yeah.
What do you make of the issue of Purge himself? Because lying on the witness stand can lead to perjury.
Correct.
What do you make of that? Because that's a lie, saying that he doesn't know. There are records and there are evidence that can prove that he knows Cummings before this whole CPP framework does. So that in itself is a lie.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, whatever plan they had in mind, like you said, the other guy from the group, they are all jumping ship now. Everybody jumping the ship because the captain is not in charge of the ship. Everybody jumping on. The reason you see Uncle Joe taking that position is to avoid the perjury you talk about. So he's trying to play, memory insanity. He said he cannot remember Cummings. Think about you, a psychologist. You go to the legal counsel and say, look, I don't think Honorable Boyka is interested of mine to make any clear decision here with evidence. So he is now showing to all who he actually is, but that's what he's trying to use to get out of that situation. But it is not something that he's faking to do. It's real.
Well, in that context, if and I want to be careful about whether it is. Hold on one second. We're getting a call here.
Mm-hmm.
Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from, please?
Yeah, hi, my name is Mohammed Keita in New York. How are you?
Yes, Mohammed. What is your take really quick for J. Randy here?
Well, I would like to have your guest Randy to elaborate on the environmental concern issue in Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
I did indicate on your comment section that there is a program in New York called the NYDRA program that has to do with environmental issue, whereas the city of New York have implemented this program, whereas they can create carbon emission and carbon depletion to meet the current standard that is recommended as an environmental concern. So I wanted to know, is this process can be adapted in Liberia as a means of controlling the current emission or environmental issue in Liberia?
Okay. All right.
If you're going through a natural process, or maybe an artificial process. That was my question.
Thank you.
And I just want to know his intake based on his professional expertise.
Thank you.
Going forward.
I think that's a valid question. Thank you so much. So yes, we got one caller. We'll take two more. But Randy, just before you answer this caller, because I think this is a very good question. Just before you answer this question, this caller, one thing I wanted to say is, again, I don't want to get into any kind of evaluation or anything like that. I'm not going to go there. I'll stay away from that because I don't want to be sued. So let me stay away from that. Now, but in any case, in a general case or from a general perspective, if someone pleads mental insanity, then that means that person would more likely so their testimony would not be admissible because of the, and I'm not saying this is applicable to Joe Boy. I'm just saying that's what we would do. So before that person even goes on the stand, they would be evaluated, to give green light, so that whatever they say that they're held accountable for it fully 100%, especially at that age, with other health complications or whatever it is critically important to get some kind of evaluation before he goes on the witness stand, because you don't want to use that as a means to say, he didn't know what he was saying. You know,
But
that's a
let,
waste of time. That's a
let
waste
me
of
say
time.
this. Let me say this quickly before my mind evaporates. What is on my mind?
Sure.
So what Joseph Boyka is doing right now, it put him into negative state. Yes. How? One, if and I'm going to talk about the memory issue. If Mr. Boyka is saying that he doesn't know Cummings, he's either lying or he got a memory issue. So which one is he ready to take? That's my question to everyone listening now.
Well, that's a good point.
Okay. So which one are you going to go to? Which one are you going to go for? Because as you mentioned, the issue of perjury is making something up that you know is not true. Is he willing to take that route? So either way, he put himself in a grave danger. He's in grave danger. And these things, you don't, I mean, I know that's your area of expertise, but for me, who also look at functional capacity of individual, because the industry that I work in, you have to be physically fit and have the functional capacity to do things. And as part of our observation, the way you say things, we're not going to classify you, but we're going to recommend that you go for functional capacity testing.
Right.
If you're doing certain things that impair your vision, we have to send you for functional capacity. So it's from that background. Because if you're playing with a piece of equipment where you don't remember when to look for the E-start button, when to stop certain things, because your memory is slowing, we will not classify you, but we recommend you to go for functional evaluation to determine where you fit for the job. And it's from the background that I'm speaking. If Mr. Boyka is in court, and from what I'm hearing from you, that he said he doesn't know Cummings, but you and I know that he knows Cummings. And he said he doesn't know Cummings only through the CPP. But we know from history that he has worked with Cummings in the past. Then of course we are looking at something that we really don't and have a clear picture of what the intent of Boyka is.
Well, just before we bring Telvi in, before you answer that question, because I know Telvi has a point, I want to play this video of Boyka.
Things fall into place. Did I see you coming, sir? Oh. Hey, Alex, how are you? Friend and brother, for many years, schoolmate. And when we embarked on this project, I talked to Alex, and I said, look,
I'll play again one more time.
this project on.
Joe Boy talking in Atlanta, Georgia, and this was 2015.
Okay.
Fall into place. Did I see you coming, sir? Oh. Hey, Alex, how are you? Friend and brother, for many years, schoolmate. And when we embarked on this project, I talked to Alex, and I said, look, we have this project. You need to get on board the Cynthia.
Well, I would turn it over to Telvi.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy can answer that question. Telvi, go ahead. I think you had a point to make, or you had a question.
Well, comment and a question.
Go for it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, and you're being charged for 4 seconds because I got to. You're being charged for 4 seconds.
Can hear you loud and
You
clear.
got it wrong?
Yeah, I got to do something quick.
All right, so the comment about Mr. Boyka or Ambassador Boyka, past VP Boyka, what the title is, Randy asked an interesting question. Is he lying or is it memory loss? I want to take the former, and it is not uncommon for people to lie on an oath. We've been around long enough, whether watching international news or even Liberia, where big people will, in our term, big people will lie on an oath. President Trump lied on an oath. People do it every day, lie on an oath. So for him to say that he didn't know his colleague, I found that disturbing. But also too, I would have thought that the defense would have pushed again. You say you don't know this man. How come you signed a paper with him? He wasn't your friend. Show him a picture. It wasn't a memory something. It was intentional. It was purposeful. It wasn't a memory problem because he answered other questions relating to that.
Yeah.
So I think that the defendant, the defense team felt in the instance to ask follow-up questions on that, whether to either prove that he was lying or to juggle his memory. But I stay far from memory loss. It's not memory loss because he was able to answer other questions, related questions.
You're getting the option for because before they say you are biased.
No. I mean, we see this every day,
Yeah.
So, and part of it, we do that, So that's just my take on that. I know people are wrong with the memory. I'll stay clear of that because he answered all the questions. It's clear that he answered all the questions. Whether the answers we want or not, he answered all the questions.
Yeah.
So that's just that. But Rennie, good to have you on. I got one question for you. So the people you want to call, let me call.
Yeah.
I'm one person that's very big on constructive feedback because that's the only way we grow and do better. We're so used to doing it at work, but it's good when other people can tell us too, so we can get better because we all need that.
Yes.
But yesterday, I didn't listen to the show. I missed the show, but I did see the post that you did.
Yeah.
And say, and nothing, we're brothers, we're sister, one family. We work together. But I think it's important that we address that. The post that you did, that based on the interview, you do not think that SKTV was 100%, I think, independent or something like that. I may have missed the words because I'm not looking at the exact post. But I just wanted you to tell us why you felt that way and that we're not 100% independent, and what can we do to be 100% independent in your opinion.
Yeah, so thank you for answering that question. And myself, I'm open.
If we were not independent now, like you said,
Yeah, so thank you for asking that question. And let me start with myself. I am not a 100% person. I look forward to people making the criticism of me because it helped me to grow. So yesterday I watched the interview and there were questions asked of Alexander Cummings. And the way the question was leading, it was almost like leading the witness question. I think the question was very easy for Cummings. For example, the question about Cummings bringing out the forensic expert. I don't know whether the question was based from Sekou. I don't know whether it was based on just keeping it friendly. But I was under the impression, like Sekou should say, okay, is there any reason why you chose Mrs. Blair? Something like that. And secondly, what I also observed too is Sekou, and I don't want for you to take it personally, but just
no, never that.
Yes. Sekou was trying to brush out some of the questions, some of the calls. And I think it was a time where he didn't recognize that you had a call to ask. I mean, you had a question to ask as well. And then the moment you asked about the budget, it was a surprise. Oh, that's about his reaction. You should go back and watch that video. Because when you spoke of the budget, you were like, oh, so that means, was he not expecting Cummings to know something about the budget? But eventually, when you asked the question, you were right because Cummings was not interested amount to answer that question. So that tells me that perhaps the interview itself was structured, because structured interview will look at specific questions to be asked. So when you threw in that concern and the way he reacted, I was like, oh, but I thought Cummings should be able to answer the question without Sekou seeing this thing. But then eventually he said he wasn't ready, and respectfully you said, okay, we will look for another time. But I think in such a time, such a situation, somebody who will say George Weah is not competent, I think they should be ready at any given time. Remember the Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 3 a.m. call, 3 a.m. question, 6 a.m. question. Mr. Cummings should be in a position to answer those questions. Yes. And then the callers too, all right, the callers. There were callers who wanted to have their say, all right, but the way it was being managed in the sense that, oh, we'll not take this call, we're not taking the call, we'll discuss this after this. I think it was like protecting Cummings to say. But did I speak too soon? Yes. No. I'm trying to answer my question.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I speak too soon? Well, I would say yes, because what I should have done was to wait and see whether if McGill or Tour come on the show and see what would be Sekou's reaction. That would be a clear target as to how he would behave. But now that I said it, maybe it would be room for improvement. And again, I have said on many occasions on the show that you guys are very transparent, but my response was based only on yesterday interaction with Mr. Cummings. I think the tough question or the toughest question were asked of Mr. Cummings. Yes. So with that and plus order, I think what you guys need to do, and this is just an open advice, it's not meant that you guys take that. I think aside from giving 75% of the whole CPP thing, I think it should be sector structure. Mr. Cummings here, tell us, what is your environmental plan? What is your vision for the environment? What do you see now as an environmental issue, especially the question of the environmental performance indicator came out? What I expected that question to be, Mr. Cummings here, you wrote this next piece here on environmental performance indicator. So what would be your vision? How do you turn things around? And let me be able to explain that. When it comes to job creation, Mr. Cummings here, what do you make of the current situation with regards to job? And how do you plan on creating jobs? Because the more Mr. Cummings explains himself, those who are in doubt, those who don't believe that he can do these things, he will start to relate to these things. So I think more sector questions should be asked, because one thing that Mr. Cummings said that I believe is very fair, he said, we are still putting together a team of people that we are trying to classify into different sectors. That means for the agriculture sector, the environment, infrastructure. So he's still building that sector. So in order for us to determine what his progress level is at the point, is to begin to ask him some of those questions. If you say, Mr. Weah is stealing too much, all right, Mr. Cummings, when you become president, what measure are you going to put in place to find solution to this too much of stealing? Let Mr. Cummings explain himself. Because I want you to say, I know what the problem is, but what is the solution? So the question here is Mr. Cummings just only identifying things and not providing the solution? And then when he comes on the stage, the way the question is being asked. So I would suggest that more sector questions be asked. Let Cummings tell us whether he's going to put in place a national agricultural policy, whether he's going to put in place a national environmental policy, a national security policy, a national community-based engagement policy that would prevent the rape. Cummings identify all these things, but he's not providing the solution, if you will. So I believe that those things plus other were acts, and that's why I say I don't think the interview are very independent.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, Rennie.
I got a call out. Tell me, do you mind if I just get a squeeze a call on you really quick?
Sure.
Yeah, this will be the last, and then we can, wrap it up here. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from, please?
Yeah, this is Mr. Maolo calling from Maryland.
Okay, Mr. Maolo, go ahead. What's your take?
There are two things I wanted to deal with. Kelvin, to answer your question, the lawyers of Mr. Cummings did counter when they asked Joseph Walker, he said there ain't no coming. But if you follow what came out of the court, Serena Seafiles kept on objecting, and the judge was accepting it. Every time they wanted to ask a counter question for something he said that everybody knew wasn't true, Serena Seafiles would counter, and then the judge would accept it. So that went on a lot in the court today. So yes, they counter. Randy, sometimes we got to be logical in our expectation. When somebody is running for president, they're not God. There will not be, how they call it, how else do I explain this? You cannot be to a point on every single subject, not even when you are president. That's why you have advisors. And that's why even in America, they give the president the questions before so the advisors can reach to him and inform him of those facts. You cannot know everything about what you're going to do about environmental policy, what you're going to do about police, what you're going to do about... That's why you employ professionals. They advise. They take on the job. You are minister. So to expect somebody because they want to be president to tell you about budget here, budget there, if you ask me about ANC budget, yeah, he will tell you. But you want to ask him what you do about the current budget that nobody knows, not even the people in finance ministry know what's happening there. That means you're setting him up to say, oh, you're not allowed to us. Because there's no way for anybody to know. They're not auditing anybody. There's no audit report with that. We give you.
Did the call drop?
No, the call didn't drop. Go ahead, Mr. Maolo.
Yeah, I was done with Randy. I'm just saying you gotta be logical in your expectation. All of us gotta be logical in the expectation. Always put yourself in the shoes. Suppose it will be you are an environmental engineer. If I ask you something about civil engineering, would you know? No. You got no idea. You can talk plenty, but you will not be making no sense to a civil engineer. So that's the same way you gotta think about this politics business. You don't expect people to know everything. That's why you employ a professional in those areas to do the job while you are a minister. And give them objectives to meet. As they meet them, you move on. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malo. All right. Well, tell, let's, unless you have something else to say, tell, so we can.
Yeah, I just want to, just very briefly, I want to thank Randy too, for the feedback. We're taking good strides. I want to also say that, as far as the timing, obviously we ran out of time yesterday because between the three of us, we can talk a lot in our brain, especially with Steve and myself, whole day the brain just ready. And so, we'll manage our time better so that we will be able to, get more calls in, whatever it is. As far as the questioning, really, we all can agree that everybody asks questions differently. If I listen to your interview, when I hear some question, I would have said, if it were me, I would ask this way. So, different way to kill a cow, right? And so, but we say we stay accepted. And I think towards the end, I think I kind of mentioned that, the next time he's around, we'll talk about his plan because I heard about the 90-day plans. Some of the things that he said on 90-day plans sound reasonable. Some of them are unreasonable. There's some things you just cannot do in 90 days. Like you say, you're going to audit the country in 90 days. Let me talk about audit because that's my strength, right? You cannot audit the country in 90 days. There's no way. Even if you are doing an agile audit, you cannot audit even one agency in Liberia that don't even have processes. Even the people that got processes here, we don't even audit them in 90 days. I mean, the most, so some things are doable on the plan and some things are just unreasonable, So I agree. We need to talk about those things, but we appreciate the feedback. Like I said, we'll do better. Thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys for being very honest because I think this will build our strength. This will bring some sanity to what we believe. And what I would like to say to the caller comment here is this. When you run your campaign, there is something called a policy team. I don't know whether the caller that just left the line, I don't know whether he knows this, but let me say this. The policy team is required on any political party. And the purpose of that policy team is to always prep the candidate. The policy team will be divided into different groups. I think Cummings is doing that, but he's taking a snail step to get to the mailbox. The policy team will entail different sectors of people who will prepare him on every sector, because every sector in the country, he must have some basic knowledge of every sector, because you're not going to limit the people from asking you questions. All right, you talk about civil engineer. Civil engineer gave birth to environmental engineer. You take courses up to 300 level and then you split, and then you go into your area of specialty. So there are times as an environmental engineer, there are some basic knowledge that I will have in civil engineering, but when you go to the most advanced level, I will have to bring them in. Same way like them, when they go to some advanced level, they will have to bring me in as well. So I think that comparison doesn't hold water in that. But what I want people to understand most is you must have a policy team. You must have a policy strategy team. You must have a policy team, because at the end of the day, everything that Mr. Cummings is saying here to TV point, when I spoke to John Model about Cummings 90-day audit, John Model said it would be impossible, because there are case law of audit that were done for every day that stay on the dock. It is not going to take that long for him to finish it up. So when he said that, and I just said it, I just nodded my head. I said, Steve know exactly what she's doing. But how Cummings will be able to come up with a statement? He will engage people on a policy team that will be able to give him basic knowledge, not the media or advanced knowledge, but just the basic knowledge about what you know, what you can say. But you can't bluntly leave a question unanswered. In the game of politics, your opponent will ground you. They will ground you. In the country, we see every topic doing interaction. People are asking questions during town hall meeting. How are you going to do this and stuff like that? All right. So the guy that talk about the greenhouse, the issue of the environment, I cannot go into that area right now, because let me give you a summary here. Between 2012 to 2015, the United Nations Environmental Program out of Kenya worked with the United Nations Conference on Global Climate Change. They asked every country to look within themselves and identify scope 1, instrument, machine that create air emission. The second phase was to present that information to the very UN body. The third phase was to start to put in place technology need assessment. Liberia hasn't done none of those things, Moses. Today, most of the country, Ghana now, they are now in what we call the greenhouse gas protocol. They have now standards. For example, you got gas, you got electric, you got generator, you got fuel oil. Each other thing now, they are based on performance standard. So every month, you look at your electric consumption, your gas consumption, your greenhouse gas consumption, and you name it. We are not there yet. If there's somebody give you alphabet, say, Moses, this is 26 letters of alphabet. But then we go in the other class, the people there looking at terminology now, and you know, agronomy, Gibraltar, zoology, but you still looking at ABC. You're trying to understand the ABC letter from A to Z. That is what Liberia is. But then other countries are now putting those terminologies, words into practice. So it will be difficult, and I can't stay here to explain that. If I right now, we are working on that at my company right now, because what has come through the pipeline now is scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. Scope 3 is going towards the actual application of technology. Scope 1 is what we're looking at now. So I would say, Moses, thank you so much. I love you guys. From the bottom of my heart, you guys are very open. You guys meet the standard that I believe America stands for. You guys are open to criticism. And I also look forward to you mostly criticizing me as well. I look forward to Sekou criticizing me as well. Because the criticism, when I look at my SWOT, my strength, my weakness, my opportunity for improvement, when you criticize me, I take that criticism and put it in the opportunity to improve. And I will improve on it, and I will come back here. Yesterday, there was a girl on my show who said, I didn't spell Tuawo Gonglo good. So I went in there and corrected it based on what she gave me, because I felt that the name wasn't spelled right. And I immediately cleared that out. And I think if we all leave that down, the reason I give it to you guys, if there were some people that I know, I don't think I would be on the show here today. But Moses, you're proving to be a very intellectual guy, and I will commend you at all time for your patience and your ability. You represent something that I describe as I care. Your I care value, look at Liberia-centricity. Look at your audience-centric. Look at individual-centricity. How you value people, not what they say, but how you can turn things around. And so I want to say a big thank you. You are growing into a real man now. I remember back in the days when you used to come with me, we used to talk. So I'm highly proud of you, and about who you are, and I wish you all the best in life. This Saturday is the inauguration, right?
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know you gave me the invitation a long time, but I think I have to find a gift for you. Let me say the last thing before I leave. So today, I hope this technology will take place around the world, and especially in the American community. So one of my friend's daughters, she goes to Virginia Tech. This time around on the campus, Moses, people don't go to deliver things. They got the artificial intelligence box. You order for stuff. The people in the food area, they just put a thing in the machine. The computerized robot. It just walk to your campus. When you see people coming, you stop, and then you cross, and you go. So she did a video clip of that. I wish they had that today, and I hope that Amazon is working on that. Because the gift I want to send to you, I'm not going to wait for that. I will send you a gift. I'm hoping that the next gift I will send for you, it will come in a artificial intelligence robot that will come to and just knock your door or ring your doorbell. So again, thank you guys.
They got a drone. They got a drone too.
Yeah.
Amazon made a drone.
Yeah. I seen it.
So I'm moving Liberia. Maybe you can use the Amazon drone.
I don't want to go to Liberia now. I want to go to Liberia now. Maybe when Cummings become president, or maybe Tuawo Gonglo, then when I think Liberia will be okay. But for now, though, I don't think Liberia will be better for you. But you can never tell, and because you stand for principle and you don't stand for loyalty to things, and but I hope that you will be a valuable tools in your area of expertise, because we do need that area in Liberia than anything else. So I wish you the best, and I see you grow every day online, and I wish you nothing but the best, and best of luck and everything. You started your journey, and we see you here. So again, I would like to say thank you to Sekou as well, and thank you for everything, and thanks to your audience too, and thanks to those who disagree with me. I love more disagreement than people who on my side.
I know that. Well, thank you so much, Randy. Let's give the announcement together here. On Thursday, we are having Ansou Douclet. Ansou Douclet ran on the Liberty Party ticket in the most recent representative election, the by-election and half a representative, 4 different counties. He ran in Grand Gita. He wants to come and talk about the ordeal, what happened. He also wants to talk about some of his experiences in the Liberian politics. And he wants to, have a conversation. So on Thursday, Ansou Douclet will be our guest here. Mind you, Friday, we have no mental health and wellness because of the program here. Yeah. You're welcome to Phoenix, Arizona. Those of you who are making it, I know Telview will be here very soon. We'll be hanging out. We'll be chilling. And Sony will be here. Lofa, Julius. A lot of people will be here. So I don't want to call names. I don't want to call names for a popular situation again. I don't want to explain something. I know some people will be here. So we'll be here. We'll have some good time. Those of you who say I can't dance, finally get to see me dancing. And that was what we can do. Well, let's have a good week. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you, Randy. Thank you for honoring our invitation. Thanks for the conversation here today. We appreciate it. And we'll continue to work on these different areas of improvement so that we can improve and be better people. Thank you so much for your feedback as well.
So send me your address. I need to send you some brown envelope. That brown envelope. That Ellie Jones said brown envelope.
All right, no problem. Thank you
for a good job done. All right.
Thank you so much, Randy.
Take care and bye to the audience. Bye.